Welcome, my name is Janine, and in this video we're going to discuss the celestial objects that you can see in the constellation of Perseus. Perseus is a constellation that's fairly easy to find if you know where to look. It's a constellation that can be seen in the late autumn to early winter months, and I use a variety of different objects in here to really help me identify this constellation. And as you're looking at this picture, here is where Perseus is, and if you need help with finding this constellation, go ahead and see that video. But Perseus has a lot of different celestial objects, and that's going to be the focus of this video. So let's get started. Here we have a celestial map of Perseus, and as you can see from all the different areas that are colored here, that there are a variety of celestial objects. We have a star cluster right here. Right up here, there are different clusters scattered throughout Perseus. There's an awesome California nebula down here, and lots to see. There's even some galaxies as well. So these are the different celestial objects that we're going to focus on. It's not everything that's located in the boundaries of Perseus, but these are the objects you should focus on when trying to find Perseus. And if you have binoculars or a telescope, these are some areas you can focus in on. So up here is the double cluster of Perseus. These are two open clusters that are right next to each other. There's the Alpha Persei cluster, the California Nebula down here. This is another open cluster, Messier 34. And here we have a planetary nebula called the Little Dumbell Nebula. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at each of these. Let's begin by looking at the star clusters of Perseus. The first one is called the double cluster, and it's classified as NGC 869 and 884. These two clusters are fairly close to each other. They're several hundred light years apart, but they're estimated to be 7,000 light years from Earth. Each star cluster has a little over 100 stars, and these two clusters are really easy to see if you have a pair of binoculars or a small telescope, or if you happen to have an area that has very dark skies. It's possible you may be able to see this with the naked eye. Next, we have the Alpha Persei cluster, and this is an open star cluster that contains several bright blue stars. One which is the alpha star of this constellation called Messier. If you want to learn more about that particular star, go ahead and see that video. But this star cluster is the one that I use the most to help me find Perseus. The pattern of Perseus is not extremely obvious, so what I tend to focus on is this cluster of stars that kind of stands out to me within this star pattern. So try to find the Alpha Persei star cluster, and if we were to look exactly where it is in the pattern, it's kind of at the center of this particular area. And if we were to look at an actual picture, the Alpha Persei cluster is located right here. Here is also the double cluster that I spoke about previously. And then our final cluster right here is Messier 34. So let's take a closer look at that one. This is an open star cluster that's estimated to be 1,500 light years away. It has a visual magnitude of about 5.5, so you should be able to see it with the naked eye if you have some really dark skies. If you live in an area with lots of light pollution, this may be challenging to see. This star cluster is estimated to be 200 to 250 million years old and contains about 400 stars. This here across is about 7 light years as well in terms of radius, so total would be 14 light years across. So these are the different star clusters that you can try to find either using magnification, or if you have dark skies, which I will always encourage you to find, see if you can see these different star clusters. next we'll take a look at the nebulae that exist within the boundaries of Perseus. And these are challenging to see because they wouldn't really necessarily be visible unless you have the proper equipment to see it, which usually means a camera that can take long exposure photographs. So here we have the pattern of Perseus, and there is one particular nebula that does stand out, and it's located in this region right here, and that is the California Nebula, which we'll talk about next. But I'm going to remove the star pattern, but right here is where you can see a little bit of this particular nebula. So let's take a closer look. NGC 1499, which is also commonly called the California Nebula, is an emission nebula. It's estimated to be 1,000 light years away. And since it's an emission nebula, this makes it really difficult to see because it's not very bright. And the reason that we can see it here is because this photograph was taken over a period of a few hours in which the gases were able to show up on the camera. I love this next picture here. It's just very, very beautiful, and different colors were added to it to just enhance the different features that we can see within this particular nebula. So this one may not be one you would be able to see with the naked eye, but at least you know where in the general area it is located with Perseus. And just to review, it's kind of in the foot, like if we would put the pattern back here, this is the head, these are the arms of Perseus, and then these are his legs. It would be in this one particular area that's located really close to the Pleiades star cluster. Another nebula that's worth taking a look at is Messier 76, and this one is called the Little Dumbell Nebula. This one is unique in the sense that it's a planetary nebula. So it's a star that it's the end of its life, and it's starting to throw off its outer layers. This particular nebula, not to be confused with the Dumbell Nebula, this one is the Little Dumbell Nebula. It's estimated to be 2,500 light years away, and it's located in this area of Perseus. So if you remember where the double cluster is, I don't know why I said double, but the double cluster is located right here, and this is where the Little Dumbell Nebula would be as well. Another nebula to look at is called NGC 1333. This is a reflection nebula, and it's estimated to be 1,000 light years away. So this is where it would be located within that particular constellation. Another one to take a look at is something called the Perseus Molecular Cloud, and this is a giant stellar nursery that's estimated to be 600 light years away from our own solar system. It's not very bright, and it's best seen in the infrared wavelengths, so we're going to take a closer look at what that looks like. So here is right where the Perseus cloud is. This is where we're going to zoom in. So this right here is the California Nebula, and then this here is the Perseus Molecular Cloud. Down here are the Pleiades. So that kind of gives you perspective as to where this particular object is. And when we zoom in here, this is the California Nebula for reference, but the Perseus Molecular Cloud is this whole region right here. So I could probably make a whole video about this particular section of this constellation, this molecular cloud, because there's so much here. So let's dive in a little bit. Here is a picture that was taken by NASA and Caltech, and this is primarily looking at it using infrared wavelengths. And if we were to identify what's here, you have NGC 1333, that's another nebula that's right here. You also have different clusters right here that have different ages. And then here is another star cluster that's kind of embedded within this cloud, and this is called IC 348. So these are the different types of nebulae that exist within Perseus, even though just keep in mind that it would be difficult to see these because of the types of nebulae they are. And these photos that we're looking at were taken by, the best telescopes that exist out there. So it just gives us an idea of what exists within Perseus. In the final portion of this video, we'll talk about the galaxies that exist within the boundaries of Perseus. Here we have our celestial star map, and this shows you where all the galaxies are located, or at least a portion of them. Wherever you see a little red dot here on the screen, that is what a galaxy is represented as. And some of these other areas are the nebulae we talked about and the star clusters. So let's take a deeper dive into some of the galaxies that exist here. NGC 1023 is a barred lenticular galaxy that's estimated to be between 30 to 64 million light years away and is located in this region of Perseus. Next, we have NGC 1260. This is another spiral galaxy estimated to be 250 million light years away, so much further than the previous one, and it's located in this general region of Perseus. Next, we have NGC 1275, and this is also called Perseus A. It's estimated to be 237 million light years away, and in fact, we're actually looking at two galaxies here. The first galaxy is the one that you're seeing in the front, and that's a spiral galaxy. But behind that is actually a larger elliptical galaxy. So when we're looking at this, we're looking at two that are situated, one is in front of the other. And this is actually part of something larger called the Perseus cluster. And this is a collection of thousands of galaxies, and you can see many of them here throughout this photo. And it's located in this region of Perseus. So this was taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. So you're not likely to see this particular object if you have an amateur type a telescope. However, if you were to look in this region and we had a mega telescope, that is where you would find the Perseus cluster. So those are all the different galaxies that exist, and one I'm going to talk about next week is called the singing black hole. So stay tuned next week for that particular video as we talk about how black holes can sing. We've come to the end of our video about Perseus and all the cool celestial objects that are situated within the boundaries of this constellation. So let's review some things about this constellation, how to find it, and what is located inside of it. Perseus is represented as a Greek hero, and it's best seen in the autumn and winter months. It's classified as a seasonal constellation, and the best way to find it is to use Cassiopeia and Andromeda. And you can also look for some of the star clusters, like right here, and you can't see the double cluster, but it's right up there, and those are the ones you want to look for. There's also another one right there, but I really use the Alpha Persei cluster to help me find this constellation, because to me, the pattern of this constellation does not stand out to me. It's really the star clusters that I use to help me find it. And there are lots of celestial objects to try to hunt for. There's the double cluster, the Alpha Persei cluster that I just mentioned. There's a lot of different nebulae and galaxies that exist within Perseus. So these are some of the ones we highlighted. I definitely recommend you trying to find this one, as well as the double cluster and Messier 34. Some of these other nebulae would be difficult to see because of the type of nebulae that they are. So I wish you luck in trying to find some of these cool celestial objects, and even if we are unable to see some of them, we still know that they're there, and I still think that's a pretty cool thing. Remember that it takes time, patience, and practice when viewing the stars and learning how to find the different constellations. Feel free to leave some feedback or comments. Let me know what you think, or if you've ever seen any of these objects before. I wish you luck and keep looking up.